Hello, CISD kindergarten parents. My name is Dina Dinas, and I'm the Executive Director of Teaching and Learning for the Coppell Independent School District. My hope today is to share with you a little bit about the process we use for kindergarten gifted and talented assessment. For those of you that have had kindergartners go through the system before, I do want to point out that our practice has changed because of some changes to the state plan for gifted education. So stay tuned for a few minutes for me. As I mentioned on the previous slide, there have been some changes to the Texas state plan for the education of gifted and talented students. And CISD takes great pride in grounding all of our work in that document. And so as a result, we have made some changes to our screening and assessment practices for kindergarten learners. If you're curious about where our decisions came from, the reference to the state plan and the accountability standard is referenced throughout this presentation. CISD grounds all of our services for gifted and talented learners in the state plan for gifted education. Likewise, we had a program evaluation that was completed in the spring of 2013 that brought together stakeholders from across the district, community members, parents, learners, administrators, campus leadership, and classroom educators, and that is how we have designed our service model for GT learners. Our service model is flexible and is responsive to the needs of our learners. So if you look at kind of this continuum of services that we provide in gifted education, it starts with classroom instruction. Our gifted specialists on each campus meet with classroom educators to help them in their professional learning communities design instruction that provides differentiation for learners at all levels. So even if a learner is not identified gifted and talented, they are receiving some support from the gifted specialist. You also may see that classroom educators and GT specialists are providing differentiated instruction in a model that might be considered co-teaching or team teaching in a variety of settings as they work to meet the needs, again, of learners who are identified GT, but also perhaps learners who have a particular interest or have, for whatever reason, accelerated a bit in their understanding of a particular content or subject. And then at the other end of the spectrum, you might see where the GT specialist pushes in to a classroom and works with a small cluster of learners that are specifically identified as having a learning need in a content area or on a particular topic. That educator may also pull out learners for some small group instruction outside of the classroom. But all of this is responsive and it's based on the needs of the particular learners. So parents and guardians, this is the most important thing for you to know. All learners are automatically screened for gifted and talented services under the state plan for gifted education. At the kindergarten level, we're going to use at least 3 criteria to determine which learners might consistently need our services. And students who are English language learners will be assessed in either a language they understand or utilizing a nonverbal assessment. In terms of a timeline for the assessment practices, they'll begin the end of September, beginning of October, where classroom educators across the district will be conducting some portfolio activities that will result in some data for our gifted specialist and our gifted and talented committees to look at as we move into the spring. We will be looking at classroom assessment data. Some of that will come from the MAP assessment, the measure of academic progress, that your learners will be involved in here in the first 4 to 6 weeks of school. And then there will be a needs assessment where we gather some impressions and information from people who know your learner the best in the classroom setting. And then there will be a standardized nonverbal assessment leveraged with all of our kindergarten learners the week of January 13th through the 17th. More information will be coming on that as we move into the winter holiday and as we return in January. And then if we find that we need some other data points, there are some other tools that we could leverage across the district, including an interview and some other qualitative measures. Some of the character traits that the portfolio activities are designed to solicit in our learners are perhaps an advanced sense of humor or an advanced vocabulary, those that have a degree of empathy or sensitivity to surroundings and situations, perhaps a different perspective, those that are motivated by making meaning or have a level of accelerated learning. Those aren't really things you can study for, they're just traits that are inherent in some of our learners. Once data has been gathered on all of our kindergarten learners, the Campus Gifted and Talented committees will meet in late January, early February to determine which learners demonstrate a need for services based on all of the data that's been collected. Parents will be notified of the committee's decision prior to March 1st, and consent for service will be part of that notification process. While we do identify some kindergarten learners as gifted and talented, we do have an ongoing screening practice for gifted learners across really all of our elementary schools at every grade level. But there are two additional opportunities for universal screening where all learners in a grade level are assessed, and that's in 3rd grade and again at 5th grade. If you have any questions or want some further information regarding the GT screening practices in Coppell ISD, please refer them to me, Dina Dinas. I am the Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, and my email is right there, ddinas@coppellisd.com. We welcome you and your learner to the 2019-2020 school year, and we look forward to getting to know you.